best team in the league, continue to be the best team in the league. Direwolves there, though, snipping at their heels, making them work for it, Rusty.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they were pushed to the limits, the Chiefs, but just like Sport mentioned in the cast, they hit up that quarantine real effectively, and they were able to deal with everything being thrown at them. And eventually the Chiefs were still the Chiefs, and they got those team fights in there to get the win. But, you know, while Direwolves looked good very early into the game, their team fighting was still a little bit shaky, using those invulnerabilities in unison.
What you rubbing there,
Was that
Spawn?
lagging?
No, what you rubbing there, Spawn?
I spilled water and coffee and shit everywhere. I am really...
He
Look at this shirt!
No, that's so
my God.
bad. And the stain is bad too.
and my feet is like on carpet, and now I'm just on like it's squelching carpet, Nick. It's squelching
mate.
carpet. Jenna's gonna kill me.
We need a play-by-play. What happened? How did you spill multiple cups?
Okay, so the way this works is normally I have my keyboard closest to me and all my cups on the other side. So, like, keyboard is like closer to this side of the desk, and then cups behind it. But because I've got all this new really great stream equipment, thanks very much Riot Games, I've had to move it so keyboard back, new equipment closer, and then my cups are in front of my keyboard. So I reached over to type something to my beautiful sister who is enjoying an orange juice without me and said, I can't wait to see you after quarantine is over. And then as I was taking my hands back, I just splashed everything on top of me.
No.
And then I was very explicit with my language, which I apologize to everyone in the production crew that had to hear that.
And it happened like 30 seconds before we were going on air. So that was... I mean, you cannot ask for better timing with that.
Thanks, Dad. I appreciate it.
No, I appreciate it because it's just good content, mate, and that's what we're here for. We are here for good content. We're here to celebrate League of Legends, not only in the form of the professionals who play it, but also the amateurs, the unprofessionals, the improfessionals. Those of us who just play for fun, those of us who maybe do it for a job, not playing. We thought to celebrate the fact that the Eternals event is happening and you can sort of celebrate your League of Legends accomplishments in-game, that we would celebrate our League of Legends accomplishments on broadcast. So this is the League Lifetime Achievements. It's beautiful. Even without the tongue.
It feels like the Oscars.
It does, doesn't it? I mean, that was kind of the direction. So
I like
he
it.
nailed it. He nailed it. This is where we get to celebrate the Lifetime Achievement, the thing you're most proud of in League of Legends. And chat, I want to know from you guys as well. Send it in chat. Send it to me on Twitter @NickBoy. We want to know the thing that you're proudest of in your League of Legends playing career. If you had to stop playing today, what would be the one thing that defines you, that makes you most proud? It can be a play you pulled off, some in-game accomplishment, something external. Yeah, we want to know. And I'm gonna pick Rusty. Rusty looks proud in that picture. Rusty, what is your League lifetime achievement?
Oh, okay. So, how far back can I go for like? Are we allowed to do off the rift achievements?
So does that just mean life achievement?
No, like League of Legends related, just not in game.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll allow it.
Oh, well, I mean, my lifetime achievement then is that I was the first ever team to go internationally from Oceania.
That's a pretty big achievement.
It was, it was my team. I was the captain of it. I made it. Found all the roster. Denian was in it. He was my AD carry. So someone who still exists. The only other person. And we went to Korea for WCG 2011, I think it was, where we got the pleasure and displeasure of playing against the best teams in the world in our group, which was America at the time. North America were the best back then. I had I got absolutely owned.
Who did you play against? Did you play against Gigi or Chowster or?
Yeah, we played against Gigi and Chowster. There was two teams from NA that were in our bracket, so Hotshot GG, Reginald, Chowstar, GG, yeah. A lot of them. That was very good. Who was it? Dyrus. I played against Dyrus. Cassided versus Yorick, which was a mistake. But yeah, no, that was super cool. It was really an eye-opening experience, which is basically what caught me the competitive bug, right? So that was my achievement.
That is, look, being the first OS team to go international is certainly, we have all been touched by your EP tonight.
This is a live. Rusty's camera is off, so I just want to do a live reenactment of what Rusty just did. He just went.
Yeah.
He set the bar this high
than I could.
Totally. He is rubbing something right now, and it's not wet carpet. Spawn, your league lifetime achievement, please.
Come on, Nick. Come on, Nick.
My league lifetime achievement is actually, I was on the analyst desk of World Semifinals in 2016, and I was just at a little-known venue called Madison Square Garden, and I looked up, and I just saw myself on the Madison Square Garden Jumbotron with like Madison Square Garden above it. And I just thought to myself, you can probably die now. Like,
you've made
what
it.
else could you do?
You've done it.
This is it. And then it didn't end there, because what happened in 2016 Worlds, which was, I mean, it was super like nerve-wracking, but they were like, you're only casting groups. And then I was like, okay, that's cool. Like, that's great. I've never casted groups before. Then I was like, you did a really good job. We want you to stick around for quarterfinals. And then I was like, okay, this is even better. And then I was like, 2 days from going home, like, don't go anywhere. So I went to Chicago. And it's like, don't go anywhere. You're going to New York. You're going to the semifinals. And then I was like, holy shit. And then they were like, beforehand, they were like, if you do well on semifinals, there is a chance we'll use you on the grand finals. And then I got to do an hour live pre-show with like my biggest heroes ever, Deficio and Crepo. Like, they're still like my favorite casters of all time. Like, they're two of my best mates as well. Did an hour pre-show with them and Dash, who I also love to death. And then I got to walk into the Staples Center as Ignite was happening by Zed, as the cube dropped. And I also thought at that time, you know what? Like, this is insane. So
now you can
back to back, like 2 weeks in a row, like Madison Square Garden, like if you're a basketball fan, which I am, like maybe the most famous place in the world. And then like into Staples Center for the world final. Like, I don't think I will ever feel anything like that again within a job. You definitely get it with like kids and stuff, but like within a job, that was insane.
The measuring is insane in this broadcast right now.
How much talent do we have in this region, eh? These guys are definitely best in their craft.
As someone who has worked in League of Legends for less than one split, what's your where have you gone internationally?
Well, I'm the youngest dog. Obviously, I've come into this. I've only been working for 4 months, so League is a brand new experience for me. I think for me, my biggest achievement would have to be the fact that I'm learning a brand new game, and I'm only playing support in solo queue because I'm an idiot, and I've already made it to plat Elo solo queuing as a support main. So like I feel like that's not too bad for you to not feel that you're hard stuck. You feel like you're justifying your position as a new addition to the roster. So I'd like to imagine that by the end of it, I want to be climbing the ladder a lot more and getting invited to a lot more games to play with Rusty, because me and Rusty have a bit of a love-hate relationship. There'll be games where we'll play and I may just AFK and I may come back. We may still win, but the narrative's already been done by that stage, and he may pretend to lag out with his internet, but I know he's still there.
So I just like the amount of fun that you just said you're a support mate, and let's just be clear, we were playing One for All this week. How good are other roles?
Oh yeah, no, this is the thing, right? So Rusty was like, "Let's play One for All. Let's get you onto some other champions, get you a bit of an understanding of like the fun of this, right?" And I'm playing. What do we play? We did Kiana. I went Kiana for the first time, and I was like, "I like this. It feels so fluid. It feels so fun. You feel like you're having so much impact. This definitely ain't your Zyra, your Janna. You sort of sit back and let everyone win the game for you."
I love that answer. I think that there's so much respect I have for Rusty every time he salt tweets out that he's playing with you. We're going to get into game number 3. We'll come back to this after the next game. It is Avant versus Oh, no. Is it Avant versus No, it's not. It's Legacy versus PGG. Legacy versus PGG. Game 5 coming up right now.
Feeling the heat? Grab a pineapple or pineberry frozen Fanta mix at Macca's. With 36 flavours, it's the largest range in Australia. Grab one for only $1. A little goes a long way at Macca's.
Our top 4 are locked in. They're guaranteed. Order have made that spot. And now it's up to Legacy to get themselves more victories to keep the score even with the Chiefs back off the victory they just faced there in Dire Wolves to get themselves that coveted first spot. But Spawn for the rest of them, Avant, Gravitas and Pentanet still tied on 6 and 13. Definitely all still within a shot of making that 5th and final spot.
And this is the gut check time, Skimmy, because all of them have really hard games coming up, right?
Yeah.
So it's not going to get easy, and you just have to be able to steal one of them. What you have to hope is that Legacy have put so much work into taking down the Chiefs tomorrow night that all of their practice has been going into the Chiefs, and that they're going to play the weirdest comp possible. And they've only ever run that comp this whole week, and they've forgotten how to play any other champion in the game of League of Legends. And then you might have a shot at being able to picking up this all-important victory. Because with the way the Pentanet line is going, it is not pretty at the moment. What have they lost? 7 in a row?
I believe it was 6. 6 consecutive defeats right now, spawning multiple weeks. It's definitely one that crushes your soul, I tell you that much. And you talk about comfort picks. Well, let's put Pentanet, or put Sully more particularly, on a player, on a champion. I've forgotten what I'm saying now. I'm crashing. I'm crashing. But it is going to be the Gragas. It is going to be a pick that he is very comfortable on, one that he's played a lot, one that we've seen out of him in the very first few weeks, and one that they'll be looking to find a lot of consistency coming out of. Whether or not it's first pick worthy is left to be desired, but regardless, they are going to stick with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that I actually like when Sully plays AP picks, because I think Get Back has a good Aurelia. I think he plays a little bit of Yasuo. I think they were one of the teams that were flirting with Kiana earlier in the split as well. And it just gives Get Back a lot more ability to be able to move. Also, if Biopanther can play AD top laners, and he's already shown that he can, it gives them the ability to go towards that. So this is a supremely comfortable draft right now that we're seeing for the Pentanet.gg lineup. They've got Xayah Rakan, they've got Gragas. This is an all-out teamfight comp. They're going up against Legacy, who, with locking in the GP, confirmed that they're looking for a teamfight comp as well. And you know what? Just fight fire with fire. Go out swinging is what I say. If you can't make it work, like, go back to what was working, and that was a lot of aggression.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you compare these two teams, it's a bit of a mismatch in the sense that, Legacy are definitely a team that don't mind playing the slow game, but definitely a team that are very good at working in the early game as well. In terms of aggression, in terms of their damage per minute, they outscale and sort of really outmatch what Pentanet bring to the table, especially when what we saw the game previously. Very content just to chill, wait around, but they wait around for such a long time that nothing really substantiated as a result of that one. So we need to see something that really gets them on the board, and Gragas is a pick, as you say, that Sully's very comfortable on and really allows him to assist the lanes and get some kills.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that what we've learned about Sully is he wants to sprint around Summoner's Rift and try and kill as many people as he can. Yeah. And they looked at their best in the game versus Order when he just ran directly bottom lane, imposed his will on it, but then kind of went missing a little bit. That's why I don't like Wukong all that much for him. Gragas isn't going to go missing, mate. He's going to be relevant at any stage of the game just through the utility he brings. So, you know what? Completely agree with you there. Interesting to see what they draft right now, whether it is going to be Babip's champion. That isn't Babip. Maybe it's Babip's champion. Echo. Does Babip sound like a jungle Echo player? Maybe 5 years ago.
I was going to say, definitely not the identity that I've come to know him as. Whether or not this is what Tally's been practicing.
So Tally is a big Echo player, but he used to play tank Echo top lane. He didn't really play all that much AP Echo. I wonder if it can be, pick somewhere else. They banned away 2 tempo junglers, so it could be a jungler. I'm very confused right now.
I'm glad you are, because the Gragas and the Yasuo are locked on in. We've begged for it to happen whenever the chance presents itself, and it finally does. So this is a composition that wants to make things happen. I would be incredibly surprised if we don't see any aggression take place here. Legacy say, cool, you can have it. We're going to go for the Lulu, and we're going to go for the ability to try and lock you in place and counteract that.
So Lulu top, Echo jungle, Gangplank mid. Okay. You know what? It's a composition.
It is.
Certainly 5 champions on on some of the drifts playing League of Legends.
I love that description whenever you're like, oh, it's definitely 5 champions on that roster. It definitely looks like a composition that can do many things. And yeah, Rusty, you're right, absolutely. I feel like, you know, the voice of God coming in from above there telling us that this is a TFT comp with the legendaries. You're talking, well, everybody, right? Isn't it? The entire squad is a legendary. So maybe Legacy stands for legendary.
Is that really what they've gone for?
The TFT metacomp.
Okay. If that's the case, then I'm out of the loop with TFT, which I'm fine with, because unfortunately I'm not enjoying my video games all that much at the moment, Skimmy. I've been tweeting about it, but that's an interesting time to go into a troll comp, because first place is still up for grabs, right? And that's an automatic buy still. So I would like to think that this isn't just a Legendaries comp, that they still have some clue about how to play these champions.
We'd hope so. I know those boys like to play TFT a fair bit, but let's crack on into it. It is Pentanet.gg searching for a win, the hardest matchup they have to get themselves over that hurdle and over that hump into the likes of it. Whereas for Legacy, they are needing a win to give themselves the best shot, still a running chance to claim that first seed.
Yeah, and we'll see whether they're able to do it with this TFT Legendary comp that has been pointed out to me. Meanwhile, it does seem to be a fairly similar comp from both teams, right? Team fighting bottom lanes, fighters in the mid lane. I would say that, Gangplank is certainly going to outscale. Mages in the jungle in the for both teams, you know, very good ganking ability. And then supportive top laners, which Topoon has been known for, but not necessarily Biopanther this split so far. A little bit more of a tank player than a support player, in my opinion, but we'll see whether he can make the karma work.
It's interesting for me, right, with Biopanther, because I feel like he's just you know, the flexible utilization. He will just play anything that is needed, right? Like, he's not afraid to bust out a Singed and be like, okay, you're going to have to respect Bandit next time, which I think is such a powerful threat to have as a player. And then obviously the same could then be said of Topoon, who's like, I can play literally anything, keep these guys guessing. I'm very curious to see how this Lulu pans out.
Yeah, and the thing that impresses me about Topoon is he's a really good support player, but he's a bloody terrific carry player, like, to be perfectly frank. So I think that, you know, he is, at the moment, pretty classy up there in the top lane. Sully taking a lot of damage there. Would have loved a little bit more help on that. However, goes Body Slam next, and he's going to do the full red side clear. So it will be level 3 quite early. See whether Babip reads this, goes for a topside invade. Isles and Raze. Kind of an enigma of a bottom lane to me, because I think Raze is really good at the moment. And I think Isles is having a fine first year, don't get me wrong. He's a rookie player, so I think you have to take that. But, you know, I would say one of the weaker links of this Legacy lineup, currently, as it stands. But going into Praedyth and Rogue has been something that teams seem to have enjoyed lately. Praedyth and Rogue have kind of fallen off a little bit as a duo, I would say. Tally looking for some kegs.
I'm just looking here, Sport. I'm trying to understand really what the idea of the draft that Legacy have, right? I mean, obviously for Pentanet, you know, you've got the beautiful synergy between mid and jungle. You've then got the initiation between the duo and bot lane too. That seems pretty apparent at face value. But for Legacy, you know, Lantern...
Their comp sucks.
I'm just trying to understand, what is this comp excelling at? Are we looking at split pushing? Are we looking at buffing up Raze? Are we looking at engage?
I mean, it certainly buffs up Raze. Gangplank in itself should be seen as like an engage tool, right? So when you have a Gangplank, all you have to do is drop the cannon barrage on the back line, and they're forced to fight you because the front line runs back through it. They're too slowed down. Tally's a really good Gangplank player. Also, the fact that the W cleanses knockups means that it's much harder to execute the Gragas Yasuo 2v2, so he likes this into Gragas Yasuo. Used to even play at top lane when people hate Gragas Yasuo. And Babip can engage, right? If you speed up Babip, he flies in. With that ability right there, it's going to be able to stun people up. You can then get a knock-up. He can use, you know, a stopwatch maybe and ult on top of himself to be able to do some nice damage. So, like, there are parts of it that make sense, but you're right. There's no hard tank. There's no hard initiation. There's a couple of soft forms of initiation. I would say they have good winning lanes, so maybe that's what they're going for. Win lane, win game kind of style of League of Legends. But that's not really the Legacy style, right? I think that this is a comp where They are just flexing their muscles a bit. It doesn't have to all make sense because they're good enough players to be able to bridge the areas where it doesn't and still probably pick up some teamfight wins.
I think from a style point of view, they've definitely won this one. They've all got the relevant skins for their TFT counterparts, so I think if we're taking that into consideration, that gives them a slight edge.
Do they really have all the
discount
skins?
the effect that maybe they don't have the obvious tank. So, I mean, maybe you look at it and you think, are we playing 2 games at once and it's being broadcast? Have we just brought the TFT OPL into existence?
So, Skimmy, this game actually doesn't matter for standings, I think, for Legacy. Because if they lose here and Chiefs win, but then Legacy beat Chiefs, they would be equal. Hold the thought.
Hold the fort indeed. Getback's going to jump in and maybe not look towards that play as the situation he wants, but he's got minions to jump to, the flash to get away. And Babbitt will secure that one. He's going to fall on down as he's not level 6, but he gets the assist across the tally.
So what I was going to say is if Legacy lose this, right, they're still only ever going to fall 1 game behind Chiefs before that final game. And that means that the game versus the Chiefs, if they win, they would go back to even and have head-to-head, so therefore they would finish first on the ladder. So there is actually no standing implication for this game.
So it's all up to Pentanet.
It could just be the TF team fight comp. And I've read way too much into it.
They just want to throw it off to their
5 minutes
throw it off to their viewers, their fans, and their opponents alike.
Yeah, and now if that's the case, right, and if they've told Pentanet, you know, ban TFT champs or something like that in lobby, which sometimes teams do, the pressure's really on Pentanet because this is a must-win game for Pentanet, right? They want to be able to get themselves into playoffs, but Legacy don't necessarily need to play with that much focus or seriousness.
It'll be interesting to see how they actually come together with this composition. It's baffled us, but it looks good. And at the end of the day, I'm sure that's really what the viewers want to hear from a top-tier analytical standpoint, as Babbitt will show his face once again in this mid lane. There won't be any vision because the control ward is down. Goes to Chronosphere to lock him in place. Get back, will juke that one. No flash. Only has the ability to dash away. Now Sully rocks up to the fight. Doesn't have 6, but is going to look to try and output a fair bit of damage. It's not going to be enough because the Get Back falls on down. Second attack and the second gank attempt is successful. And hold the phone because bot lane is now where the action is at. As Rogue jumps in, he disengages out. Raider going to utilize those feathers. The recall comes out, but Isles will not get locked in place with some fancy flash utilization. And 6 minutes in, teams are looking for skill checks.
Yeah, they certainly are. That was really well played from everyone in the bottom lane because Exhaust was used super early, but Praetor didn't rip the feathers back until after Exhaust was expired, so he had a lot of damage. It's kind of like Callista Rend in that sense. However, it is going to be ultimately 2 summoner spells burnt for 1, but wave push in favor of the Legacy bottom lane. So take from that whatever you will. I think that Raze is a person that comes out ahead of it. He gets a much better shop, gets a BF on the first purchase. Dragon already down on Summoner's Rift. That one was picked up by Sully somewhere, so it's going to be flipped for Rift Herald from both of these teams, and we'll see whether we get some more biffo here, Skimmy.
Definitely has been, and I think Get Back is the one that's feeling the pain right now. I mean, if you look at that CS comparison, 37 to 54, he is definitely having a guts full of it. He's being the sole focus right now, and you hate to see a Gragas rock up to your lane without the Predator and without the big explosive cask.
Yeah, absolutely. And Topoon stuck around up here in the top lane. They might go for something here. You can see Engage in the jungle.
Cast goes out, but the hook lands. Down to Lenton to try and get members in place, but Rogue just says, I've had enough of this. You are left to your own devices there, mate. He jumps on out, and a killer's picked up. Spread between 3. Legacy finding the situation with the priority in their lanes.
And they're so far ahead now, Skimmy. I mean, TFT comp and everything aside, these team fights are going to start getting very difficult against a Fed Misfortune and a Fed Gangplank. And you can see that Babbitt definitely knows his way around the Echo as well, so must have been picking that one up a little bit in solo queue. He's had a very good performance so far, running the Electrocute as opposed to the Dark Harvest. A lot more early game power for him. And now with this Rift Herald picked up, following a similar trajectory to Legacy's first game of the day, I think, you know, just control from start to finish.
If I know anything about TFT, I feel as if Pentanet really needed that Blitzcrank, you know, to hook in the Misfortune or the GP, you know, just really prevent them from getting their 5-cost utilization coming online. Maybe a Zephyr to impair their damage, but not able to find it right now. So the TFT cosplay is working in full effect, as you say. Legacy are up by 2k gold and quite happy with themselves 10 minutes in.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you know Zephyr used to exist in League of Legends as well, not just TFT?
So, run me through that, right? So, how does it differ in, or how did it differ in the actual game itself? Was it the same?
No, completely different. So Zephyr in TFT removes a champion from the board for the first 5 seconds or whatever it does, right?
Yeah.
Zephyr in League of Legends was an attack speed item that gave 10% cooldown reduction, a little bit of AD, and tenacity. It was one of the only items outside of boots that gave tenacity. There was another support item that gave tenacity as well. It was when Riot really wanted to diversify build path, right? And tenacity was like just seen as OP. So they wanted to take it off boots, allow other boots to be picked up, since their merc rates have been nerfed. So that's why we don't see it as much. But it was a really unique item, and 80 carries used to sell their boots all the time late game and pick up a Zephyr, which I think was like a 3,200 gold item. And it was, yeah, it was really cool.
That was your 6th item. Goodbye, Zeal.
No boots, 80 carries.
Well, I mourn its loss, but I appreciate the history lesson as we see what's happening in this game. It's one with not really much to talk about, quite honestly. It's been Legacy running around the map, finding kills and finding damage. They've obviously taken down the turrets, but are going to utilise that Rift Herald to get damage done in the top lane as well. And, you know, we've yet to see Pentanet find a situation where the 5 members come together, unleash the Wombo combo. We've seen it once before, but that was in games of weeks past. So waiting to see them pull the plug and not fall victim here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that teams have kind of figured Pentanet out a little bit. Pentanet as a team, when they're behind, really likes to split the map on you quite heavily. So you could see that as Rift Herald was on top side of the map, they went very hard bottom lane with their duo. They're trying to take as many turret plates as they could. That's why Gangplank makes a lot of sense in this composition. He just dropped the ultimate, cleared out the wave, and it wasn't an equal trade at all. All 5 plates going across the rays, only 2 plates actually going to Praetor. And you can see that really starting to rear its head in the item discrepancy right now. He's 20 CS down, he's 3 turret plates down as well as the completed turret. Maybe they go here, however.
Well, this would be good, and that's the Wombo combo we look to see, and Tapoon is deleted. The hook won't land, but it does buy himself enough time to force Legacy to go off the Drake, and now they themselves can waddle in and take it for themselves.
And Skimmy, in League of Legends, you cannot do 2 things at the same time. We keep talking about it, but if you try and hit mid lane wave and get it to crash into the turret and do Dragon, you're leaving one of those groups in an area of weakness. This time it was going to be Topoon and Tally. Tally flashed, Topoon did not, therefore Topoon falls down. And against the flow of the game, Pentanet able to pick themselves a second Dragon.
Second Dragon, and it will be an Infernal Rift. So Legacy definitely with the ability to get themselves online later in, if the game were to go that long, and definitely add to the strength that their ultimates present.
Is that the
yeah.
4th Infernal Rift of the night?
Pardon?
How many Infernal Rifts have we had? I feel like
I would like to say like 3 or 4. I know it's 3 at least. There's been a lot, right? We've not had a single ocean.
Don't think we've had an air either. I reckon they've all been Infernal. We've had really good dragons today. Like, this is another game where you start with air and mountain. Probably the 2 best to get off the board.
Mm-hmm.
I like League of Legends. Like, that's the thing, Skimmy. I'm really not enjoying playing games at the moment, but I'm really enjoying watching people play games. Do you ever go through moods like that?
I do.
Where you watch
a
streamer, and you're like, wow, I'm going to play that game. Then you load it up, and it's like, it's just not doing it for me. And then you go back to watching the streamer, and you're like, why did I not enjoy doing what this guy's doing?
You know what's interesting for me? I feel like as soon as I got into like esports as a job per se, right, it kind of like changes your perspective of games from being a hobby as to more of like this is now a job. And then whenever you're looking at a new game, you're like, does this have esport potential? Does this have the ability to, you know, be a potential job, right? And it kind of like spoils it for me. I don't know if you share the same opinion, but like whenever I look at a new game now, I find it very hard just to like chill out. And like sometimes you just want to play, I don't know, like The Sims or something, right? You just want to relax and just chill in bed. But like, well, where's the competitive nature in this one?
And that's what I was saying to people. I'm so competitive with video games that they're like, oh, just play like a Final Fantasy or like a JRPG with a cool storyline. And I'm like, I will do that for 5 hours, but then if I don't ever go back to it, I just feel like I've wasted 5 hours. So maybe the exact same thing you're talking about. However, dive in the bottom lane.
Diving in the bottom lane is where the action's at. Praetor's going to use the Feather Storm very early on to not fall victim to the CC. The teleport's coming out. It's going to be a 4-3 dive right now. Praetor flashes in, but flashes to his grave. Ray's going to drop the turret aggro. Rogue going to fall down in quick succession as Tapoon juggles it. Second auto flashing on out. Didn't need to, but he survives regardless. Babbitt back to take this tower. 2 kills and a turret of boots. Legacy really stomping their authority on this game.
Yeah, really just showing how strong they are. You know, that's a clean turret dive. No one falling down. 2 members. They also get a teleport out. This is a really nice early ultimate from Praedyth because he gets him out of danger without having to burn the flash. Only had to use the heal. You see right now, he also kites back towards his team, gets a really big rip, but of course, Raze has too much support there from the rest of the lineup. And this is where, as you mentioned, it's really good juggling of turret aggro. Not sure that the flash was needed either, however, staying healthy in a turret dive in case someone's rotating down, always a good thing. And Legacy extend their gold lead to 5,000 at 15 minutes. Again, their gold differential at 15 has really been approved over this weekend, Skimmy.
It really has. I mean, they've definitely showcased that they are one of the top contenders, and there seems to be a very, big disconnect between some teams and others that sort of not only win lane, but they are able to get, first bloods, first towers, first objectives, and then really snowball that as a result. So I'm very curious to see if these, identities stay true going into playoffs, or if people look to try and reinvent the wheel and keep their opponents guessing. But for this matchup in particular, worrying signs, right? We've only seen really Pentanet able to find one clean initiation with the 5-man squad, and that was when Legacy went for the 2-man play between pushing mid and going for the Drake. You'd imagine Pentanet definitely incredibly strong when it comes to contesting those objectives. So with the next Rift Herald up and the next Drake up, it becomes a question of that has to be your focus. You have to get some kills and even out this 5k deficit.
But look at the differential between the 80 carries. Not only do I just think Misfortune is straight up a stronger champion on the current patch, Misfortune is an item ahead.
Yeah.
That's just... I mean, you talk about 5v5 strength, and sure, I agree with you, it is there. But at a certain point, money talks. And Raze right now just has way more money.
Way more money and far bigger power spikes with the Trinity Force completed on Tally's GP as well. Scary times to even try and force those fights as you highlight, but you start to worry, right, with Pentanet always playing slow, and whether or not, teams like this will give you that chance to get yourself back into the game, to give you that window in which you can execute as you desire. But Legacy will say, we won't give you that chance right now. Yes, the next Drake is up in 30, but we're going to pick up the second Rift Herald. We're going to keep the pressure on you, keep you forced to clean house waves, and deny your attention as Isles goes roaming, but he won't be able to find a pick.
Yeah, however, they do get to clean out all of this vision in Bottomside River just before the Dragon's coming up and available. You would think this is a last Hail Mary. If they somehow steal themselves this Dragon, maybe get a winning teamfight. Game's still on right now for Pentanet.gg and could put Legacy in a tricky situation. Good poke coming across, and they are in the area first, although Isles and Tally looking for a flank here.
They do push up mid-wave, and they are, as you say, the first to get to the Dragon. It's been started. How do Legacy respond to this one? Babip jumps in, gets damage onto 2, zones them away, instantly forcing the members off, and the Dragon continues.
Do you even look for this fight right now? Is this a hill you die on?
This is the situation they need to go in. Sorely using the cask and only getting onto Babip, but it's a little bit too low. He does get the smite still, however, and that's massive. That's what he needs. He gets the kill taken away from him in the end as well, because Babip picks it up, but the damage has been done. Pentanet now with a win condition to work with, 6k down. But a soul point to be threatened, and with that 5v4 advantage, Legacy want to make something happen. They break open mid-turret, they summon the Rift Herald to take a second, and may look to transition into just side lane pressure.
Yeah, and I mean, hey, you lose 2 turrets for it, but you're going to lose them anyway, probably. They already had Rift Herald, they had a stronger team fight, in my opinion, so the fact that you were able to steal away a Dragon against the flow means that there is a genuine win con on the board. You know what? If we get Infernal Soul at a point in this game, that's worth some stats. And the fact that, now 4% additional attack damage and ability power being picked up for the team, that's worth something as well as a dollar value. So credit to Sully being able to sneak in there and steal himself away from the Dragon. Do I think it's going to be enough? I think it's still an uphill battle, if I'm being honest. But you know what? You got to win skirmishes to win battles. Gone are the days, mate, where 30,000 people rocked up to a field, 15,000 versus 15,000, drew a line and said, you know what, whoever wins here in one day is going to actually win the war. Now we fight these things for months, years, decades at a time. And,
what's the timeless analogy of yours? That was the first step. Maybe they're looking towards a run.
Yeah, maybe they're looking towards a run. It was a stagger. He fell over and hurt himself still. I don't even know if it was a step, but you know what?
You will go with that. Yeah, we'll take that.
There was movement. There's life in Pentanet yet.
I like to see it. But, I'm scared, right? Look at Raze. Yeah, you talked about it before, the item advantage he has. You're talking about a Cull versus an Infinity Edge. If that's not a yikes, I don't know what is at this stage. And with Baron spawning in a minute,
he's about to cash in that Cull. He's about to cash in that Cull, mate. You take that back. That Cull is 7 CS away from being worth an extra 450 gold. Don't take the... That's calculated. Look, one more creep. One more. Where does he get it? Go find a creep. Is it red buff? Isn't that a satisfying last creep? Oh no, Biopanther.
Oh, he jukes it out, but it's not going to be good enough. He jukes into himself in the end. Bio will fall on down as the full team collapse takes place, opening up another turret and just giving him more vision, more damage, and more ability to lock down this Baron in 30.
However, Praedyth now cashes in that kill. You see the big dollar sign, cha-ching, equalizes that kill. Cull for a kill. Is it worth? I would argue no, because you lose a lot of pressure having someone dead for 30 seconds. Is it what they have to accept at this point in the game? Absolutely, Skimmy.
Absolutely indeed. Babib jumps in and has Isles in quick support. They're going to find it. The Mobius was there for the engage, but that's going to be the jump in by Sully. A one-man ultimate coming out of this Yasuo as Raze is forced to flash away, burn the summoner, but fall on down. It's going to be a shutdown as Telly makes sure that revenge is swift.
Oh, that's a lot of feathers.
Comes out. The drag back. TP is going to be utilized to try and get themselves into this one, but actually it's not even TP, it's Tally. I don't even know what I'm talking about at this stage anymore, but it is going to be Legacy that find themselves some kills on the map. Spawn, get me back into this one.
I mean, worth. You got a shutdown. Raze isn't farming at the moment. You lost the whole bottom side jungle, but you know what? You got to take the small wins. That's a really nice setup coming across from Pentanet.gg. Base isn't going to be broken. A minute and a half until the next dragon is up and available, and now their 80 carry doesn't have summoners, and yours does. There might be, not hope, but chance? Like, is that what's underneath hope? There might be a chance that now this is a winning team fight. If they can replicate that by getting onto Raze, but this time they need to be able to get back out. Get back also used a lot, but now he has these 2 items. Let's take another look at it. And it might look silly, right? But we've already spoken about this. There is no damage apart from Raze in this comp. So as he's face checking, being able to get all of the damage layered down. And really good follow-up there from the rest of the Pentanet.gg squad. They knew exactly what their job was in this team fight. Unfortunately for Rogue there, Praedyth has to allow him to be hooked, because if he got caught, it would have been much more severe. Maybe a Baron would have gone across. But I like the gusto being shown by Pentanet right now. These fights are what they needed to force against Order, in my opinion. They left it too late. This time around, they're going for them earlier.
It is still going to be an 8k gold lead. We saw it happen before between Chiefs and Direwolves, able to bring it back. But is it possible to even quantify how much the Infernal Soul is worth to get themselves back into this one?
I mean, there is, because it's the Luden's Echo passive on 5 people and another 4% stats, right? So I'm sure there's someone out there that has done the math. I know it's one of the most valuable souls in League of Legends. They're also one of the most valuable Drakes in League of Legends as time continues on. But they're looking for a fight here.
Plug. Cast goes rogue. It does nothing. Excuse the pun, but Sully's going to fall on down. Stopwatch does nothing. And Legacy show that they are ready to jump in and punish those mistakes and say, no soul point, no chance to claim this one. We're going to draw this game out a little bit longer and hang on to our lead. And that just favors them so damn much, buying them the time for Raze to get those summoners back and patch up that weakness.
Yeah, and I mean, Sully went for the Hail Mary there. I think that was a blind body slam into a brush. If that isn't desperation, I don't know what it looks like anymore, Skimmy. And now they head towards the Baron as well. Looks like Pentanet.gg wants to recall. However, if this Baron is started up, there is going to be no chance for that.
Sully is back. He's respawned. But the blind face check takes place and Rogue is just deleted. He's trying to get some vision down, but he can't go anywhere on his own like that, and that's the kill that they need. Legacy will now turn their attention towards this Baron, and Pentanet are resigned to clearing out waves to try and buy them more time.
Yeah, I mean, they're just looking for some gold on Summoner's Rift right now, and they're able to pick up a tier 1 turret in the mid lane. They're going to be able to push that in, make sure their waves are as far from the base as possible, so this can't be a game-ending push. However, right now, Praedyth is in some trouble. He's going to have to back away. He's gone back forward. Tally's seen him. Oh, no.
He's flashed on forward with the cast explosion. It's not going to be enough because both burn summoners. That's going to force out the recall. They look for a pick. They won't find it. One shot, and they will have the damage on line. Now, it's really up to Pentanet. How do they decide to play this one? Do they go for a case of sitting here, waiting for the members to show off that recall, and finding some crucial picks to deny those Baron buffs.
Yeah, absolutely. You just sit in this brush. You do not move at all. This brush is now your home for the next, 30 seconds to a minute. They've got a teleport actually
They've got a TP coming in.
This is it!
Tally, he's jumped on in. He doesn't have the flash because he burnt it before the ultimate from Yasuo. He goes golden, buying so much time for his team to respond. They're coming in from the lane, coming in from the river. And it's Get Back looking for a 1v1, which he cannot find. Tally evaporates him with his power spike right now. Tapoon on the hunt, and the bot lane duo on the collapse. They just wipe the floor, and they say, that is not your home. This is our map, our side, our rules. Get out.
Yeah, and I mean, really well played there. I mean, Pentanet had to try something desperate. They knew that this was the game on the line. Legacy read it like a book. They're able to, Tally's able to live for long enough to be able to bait out a collapse from his team. And now, with an 11,000 gold lead, they're going to look to push in, break the base. I don't think it's game over just yet because death time is still relatively short. It's only 25 minutes into this game, but should be the base broken in multiple areas, Skibby.
Just look at the difference between Praedif and Raze right now. We've always highlighted how much of an influence Praedif can be in terms of keeping up with CS and always being such a great member with his turret style of play, but completely outclassed right now. 30 CS difference, 5 kills online for Raze right now. Significant advantage in terms of items, and really able to utilize that here as they break open 2 inhibitor turrets, working towards those super minions.
NATO hits.
They do indeed. It's going to be a damage done. It's going to be Raze doing the damage right there. Once again, Sully unable to find any value with that cast. Double kill now for Raze as they look to try and end this game. They're going to push on through with the first inhibitor and work their way towards bottom as well. Let those minions flood on in, but with the Baron-inspired minions, they may then turn their sights to the Nexus and may look to put an end so they can get back into TFT.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Biopanther now comes under fire as well. He's going to fall down. Sully has no choice but to run to his fountain. Praedif doesn't have ult, doesn't have flash. He also falls. He takes one member with him, but that is the story of the game. Pentanet GG just cannot hold on long enough. And Legacy, with the legendary comp, we'll have a couple of members go legendary as well. Just going to go for a little bit of a Nexus dive, see whether they can pick anything up here. But ultimately, the Nexus will fall, and Legacy pick up a W.
They do indeed. An important one for them, for pride, for fun, for fantasy, really, if we're talking anything, right? Styling on the Rift and out of it, and having a lot of fun in doing it. And I think, really, you talk about a perspective of mentality right there for Pentanet. It really hurts to lose in that kind of fashion.
Yeah, absolutely. And Pentanet now have one last game to be able to get themselves into the OPL finals. They have to hope that Gravitas lose both of theirs as well, is my understanding on how it works. We'll check with League Ops, but that's a pretty devastating loss. Pentanet would have come into this weekend hoping they could have secured 4th seed, and now on the final weekend of the OPL, for the first time, drop out of the top 5. That's rough.
Well, I've just had word from the refs, and that is that Pentanet are eliminated from playoff contention, which is a big one. An incredibly massive call right there. That's what I've been told in live time. So think about that how you will. We're going to jump to a quick break for our final game of week 10, day 1. Give me a chance to recover, relax, and get ourselves ready for the final game.